Good morning, staff and students at Lambeth Academy. It's Mr. Shaw here, and it brings me great pleasure to be speaking to you all this morning, from students in Year 7 all the way to Year 13. By now, you will have seen our amazing, incredible House Cup trophy in the atrium, gleaming with the ribbons of the house colours. The 4 shields you would have seen stuck onto the glass panes onto the atrium stairs, the huge banners outside on the mugger pitch, and the community shield, which is in our main hall. Year 10 are in the main hall now. If you were to look to your left, you would see that. Yes, Lambeth Academy is launching a brand new house system, and I can barely contain myself with the excitement. What I want you to do is just think about Hogwarts for a second, but even more magic. That's what it's going to be like at Lambeth Academy. All staff and students have been randomly divided into 4 houses. You can think of it as 4 teams. So creativity and talents are spread equally across all 4 houses. We will have communities within communities. So many of you have been asking questions. When will it start? What does it look like? How can I contribute? Well, all of those questions will be answered now, and also in a head of house assembly next week. This morning, I'll be sharing with you a few slides and information to introduce you to what a house system is and make it really clear how you will be able to contribute. You will also hear from Lambeth Academy's new heads of houses. You will learn a snippet of information about the people who our houses are named after, but more importantly, why. Our vision is that Lambeth Academy houses will facilitate honourable leadership by providing opportunities for students to work together across key stages. Students will benefit from strong ethos of integrity and community spirit fostered through house competition. Now, of course, at the moment with COVID-19, this is quite difficult because we're in bubbles. So at the moment, our house system will operate across the entire school, but to make sure that we're safe, all activities will take place within bubbles. So what's so special about a house system? I'm going to spend a few minutes explaining each of these symbols that I have on the slide. First of all, the Harry Potter slide. I did mention that already, but this is an example of a house system in action where there's 4 separate groups across the school. Let's work together. As mentioned just now in our vision, we'll be working across all year groups. Members of staff will be in houses as well. We will all be having our badges, which will indicate which house we are in. We'll be working together. Now, the next image is a picture which I'm very fond of, which is a piece of chocolate cake. The reason I have this on the slide is because if you can see the rows of the chocolate cake going across the layers of the cake, well, these represent the year groups in the school. What's amazing about a house system is that a house is a slice of the cake. It truly represents Lambeth Academy, from staff and students from Year 7 all the way to Year 13. So in theory, each head of house has a slice of cake, which isn't bad. Competition. Now, if you're thinking that a house system just means that we use our houses at sports day, well, then you'd be wrong. Sports day is a pinnacle of the school year, and I being a PE teacher, I really can't wait for that. And I do wonder which house will win and get the most points on sports day. But ultimately, competition is going to be for a wide range of activities, most definitely not just sports. In fact, we want you to make as many suggestions as possible to your head of house. Could it be an art competition? Could it be a poetry competition? Photography, etc., etc. Okay, the next image. It's some sticks of rock. Now, the reason I have sticks of rock is because I was reading recently about how you can make a comparison between a child who's in a house at a school and a stick of rock. If you were to break any one of these sticks of rock in half, you'll be able to see the name of the place from where it came. So this theory is saying that your pride for your house will run so deep that the identity of the house runs through you. The next one's glue. I truly believe that a house system at school will be the glue that binds us all together. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. On the right-hand side, we have our house shield, a community shield, which shows all 4 houses together. Because yes, there will be fierce competition, but we are all one community at Lambeth Academy. So how will you contribute to your house's success? Quite simply, you'll be the best version of yourself. As I said, students in year 7 all the way to year 13 are in houses too, and members of staff. And you'll know who's in your house based on the badge that they wear. The way that you perform contributes directly to the house. Your performance might be really positive, might also be negative. So let's focus on the positive. The most successful house will have students with exceptional attendance. All of your attendance goes into the computer to calculate house points, merits, postcards. Again, the merits that you achieve goes into the computer, which helps calculate house points to contribute to your house's success. Your attendance to clubs contributes to your house's success. Sharing amazing ideas will be rewarded and will help to strengthen your house. Participation in events, even if it's an event that you don't feel that you're particularly suited to, we want everybody to be participating as much as possible. Your behavior in school, this contributes as well. If your behavior was less than desirable, that will have a negative impact on your house's success. If you have exceptional behavior, that will drive your house forward. And you can rest assured that these children in year 7 all the way to year 13, that'll be pleased to know that you are doing your house proud. Participation in competition again, and your homework effort. We will be able to use data from all of the platforms we use for homework. For example, Hegarty Maths. All of this will be able to go into our system. So that is how you can ensure that you contribute to your house's success. And the head of house next week in assembly will be able to give you even more detail. So I know you're all itching to find out. When will you find out which house you're in? Well, a week today, you will be in a classroom within your house bubble. Sorry, within your year bubble, but you will be in a classroom only with children in your house from your year group. And instead of it being me speaking next week, it will be your head of house. And that will be your first house assembly. Of course, we would love it if we could use the main hall and have children in there from year 7 to 13. But that time will have to wait because of COVID-19. So instead of waiting any longer, we're going to be doing that virtually next week. So in that session, you will get your badge. You will learn even more about the person your house is named after. You will learn more about how that person contributed to society locally, nationally, and even globally. But here's an important message. Once you receive your house badge, you need to know that that becomes part of your school uniform. If it was lost, it would need to be replaced. You would pay for. And if it's not being worn, then that would just be the same as if you're not wearing a school tie. Between now and next week, you will notice staff starting to wear their badges. And you'll see that staff are in different houses. Who knows if they're going to be in the same house as you? Finally, your house will be a community within a community, and everyone's contribution will help your house's success. The first house that we're going to be looking at is House Archer. So I'll hand over to the head of House Archer.
Hello, Lambeth Academy, and good morning. This is Mr. Eno. I am proud and excited to announce that I will be the head of House Archer.
John Archer was born in Liverpool. However, he moved to South London, Battersea, with his parents. His parents were from Barbados and Ireland. Growing up, John Archer excelled in school and studied medicine at university level. At the same time, he ran a small photography studio before turning his efforts and energies into politics. John Archer achieved a great amount during his lifetime. However, there are two standout moments. The first moment, John Archer became the first black mayor within London, the mayor of Battersea. The second achievement, John Archer becomes the founding president of the African Progress Union. The community recognizes the efforts that John Archer has made over the years and becoming the first black mayor within London. There is a primary school in Clapham Junction that is named after John Archer, as well as a residential estate within Battersea that's named after John Archer. And in the next 2 years, there will be a statue within Battersea displaying John Archer himself. John Archer displayed the same school values that Lambeth Academy embodies: honourable leadership, commitment to progress, and excellence in thinking. John Archer displayed honourable leadership by overcoming xenophobia and racism to become the first black mayor of Battersea. John Archer displayed commitment to progress in his Pan-African movement to bridge the gap between Africans all over the world. John Archer embodied excellence in thinking by studying medicine and opening his own photography studio. The symbol for House Archer is the scale. This represents justice. Just like other groups within our society, the Black Lives Matter group, the LGBT group, as well as other groups searching for justice, House Archer will represent justice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eno. I will now be handing over to the head of House Thornton.
Good morning, Lambeth Academy. I am Miss Anderson and I will be head of House Thornton. I've been waiting for the launch of the house system for a while now and I am beyond excited about getting you all involved. At the moment, you don't know which house you are in, but if you are lucky enough to be in House Thornton, you will be in not only the winning house, but a house that has community values embedded within it. A house where we will value and respect one another and the house that supports each other. I can't wait to share the story of a local hero with you all and embody his lifestyle in our daily lives.
Hello Lambeth Academy and welcome to the house system. In particular, welcome to House Thornton, which will be the winning house, I'm sure. I know that you're probably wondering who the gentleman on your screen is and how he has any relevance to you, because as I'm sure you already know, this is a very, very old image. So let me take this time to talk you through the journey of this local hero, Henry Thornton. So, Henry Thornton was born in South London, as many of you were, and he was born in 1760. He's remembered for his strong sense of community and his care for others. Although he was born into a very wealthy family, he was far from greedy and donated 6/7 of his wealth to charitable causes. Thornton was someone who stood up for what he thought was right, and he showed this by being a driving force for the abolition of slavery. He was the only merchant in England at the time. I know that's absolutely wild for us to even wrap our heads around, but he was the only person at that time who supported getting rid of slavery. He was eventually successful in this fight against slavery, where he set up the Sierra Leone Company in 1807, and eventually in England, slavery was completely abolished in 1833. Now, another reason Henry Thornton is incredibly famous is for his election into Parliament for Southwark, and he was there until he died. His interests while he was in Parliament centred around prison reform, preventing cruel sports from happening, and also increasing taxes for the working class. His acts of kindness were almost Robin Hood-like, where he recognised how wrong it was for people to use their status as a given right to a life of luxury.
This is an image that some of you may think is slightly familiar. So before we move on, I want you to turn and talk with the person next to you. What do you notice that's similar or familiar about this image? You've got 10 seconds. Go. Three, two, one. Okay. Did anybody manage to get it? You're absolutely right. This image may look familiar because it's actually our old school. It used to be called the Henry Thornton Grammar School. Henry Thornton was such an amazing member of the public that he had a school dedicated to him in his memory. Now, we are lucky enough to have our school site built here, so we really, really understand how much Henry Thornton did for our local community. Henry Thornton is and has been recognised for continually dedicating his life to helping and bettering others. He lived and breathed honourable leadership and integrity, and he really is a true local hero. Now, we should endeavour to live each day a little like Henry Thornton lived his whole life. And if I can leave you with anything today, I want you to be caring, be kind, and think about other people. Now, if you are lucky enough to be in House Thornton, I know it will be the winning house. I can't wait to have you on board, and I can't wait to get this going. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Miss Anderson. I will now hand you over to the head of House Jones.
Right, good morning, Lambeth Academy. I am Mr. Patchins, and I'm really proud and delighted to be the head of House Jones. So in the next few slides, I will introduce you what are all the qualities of this House Jones, and I look forward to see you next week on the assembly on Tuesday. Thank you.
Who is Claudia Jones? Claudia Jones was born in Trinidad in 1915. She quickly migrated at a young age with a family in the US in a Harlem district in New York. She's then been forced to migrate to London in the UK, where she died at the age of 49 years old. What was Claudia Jones most well known for? Claudia Jones is well known nationally as she founded the first British multicultural newspaper in Brixton called the West Indian Gazette. Claudia Jones is also internationally famous for having funded and created the Notting Hill Carnival in London. Claudia Jones had numerous attributes that contributed to the success of her life. One of which is resilience. During her whole life, Claudia Jones had to demonstrate very high level of resilience as she overcome a long series of knockbacks. Claudia Jones grew up in a very poor part of Harlem in New York. She then caught tuberculosis at a young age and suffered as a result from major lung damage all her life. While in the US, she experienced political persecution, and she had been sent to prison for actively defending equality of rights for all US citizens. After her stay in prison, US government deported her to the UK, where she had to keep up with the fight against discrimination, especially against people who arrived in the late 50s from the Caribbean in London, and more particularly in Brixton. Claudia Jones was someone committed to make big positive changes in the society and in the local community. She was a very hard worker, very resilient, always committed to progress. Without no doubt, Claudia Jones was a strong and powerful leader. Claudia Jones was a very strong orator and had the ability to engage both people's intellect and heart. She also committed the vast majority of her life to fight for civil rights, for tolerance and equality between genders, classes and races. She was a strong leader who chose to defend and to represent the oppressed of her time. Claudia Jones was also a strong leader because she had the ability to bring all the people and the communities together. Not only Claudia Jones was a great communicator via her speeches, Claudia Jones was also a great writer, and she devoted her life to journalism. And she created and ran the first major multicultural Afro-Asian Caribbean newspaper called the West Indian Gazette in Brixton. Claudia Jones achieved excellence in thinking by using the power of the words. She knew when and how to use powerful words in a relentless fight for tolerance and equality, as well as defending the power of education for all. Finally, Claudia Jones excelled in creativity. As an example, she created a concept of the Notting Hill Carnival, where British Caribbean cultures are celebrated. This enabling stronger cohesion with the community and beyond. Why a book to symbolize the House Jones? Words and written words are probably the most powerful force available to us. We can and we will choose to use this force to encourage, to help, to heal, and strive for excellence. We, students and staff belonging to the House Jones, will be resilient and rise to all challenges. We'll overcome adversity, use a strong and powerful leadership. We will use the power of words and our creativity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patchins. I will now hand over to the head of house, Szabo.
Good morning, Lambeth Academy. I'm Miss Miranda, and I'm the proud head of house Szabo. I'm here today to introduce you to the person that this house is named after. I'm really excited for you guys to find out if you're in my house, and I'll be able to hold the house cup at the end of the year.
Have you ever been to Stockwell Station before? Just across the street, on the roundabout, there's Stockwell War Memorial. It commemorates the people who fought bravely and died for their country in World War I and World War II. If we take a closer look, we can see that there's a mural dedicated to Violet Szabo on it. Violet Szabo was an honorable leader, committed to progress and excellence in thinking. She was known for her courage, her adaptability, her determination, and her ambition. She represents all of the values we strive to achieve here at Lambeth Academy. It all began after World War I, when Violet Szabo and her family moved from France to Brixton Stockwell area. Here is where she spent most of her time playing sports and hanging out with her brothers and cousins. It can definitely be tricky moving to a new country, but I'm sure it's even more difficult when your country speaks a different language. Although Violet was committed to her progress and learned how to speak English. Knowing how to speak French and English was very useful for Violet. This is what helped her get recruited as a British secret agent in World War II. Part of her training was learning how to parachute out of a plane. She was courageous. On her first attempt, she actually sprained her ankle and was sent home. However, she was ambitious. She took that parachuting course again until she was successful. Violet Szabo was a war heroine. She had the job of jumping out of a plane and into France, which was occupied by Germany at the time. She went undercover and pretended to be a French citizen so that she could get all the information and then report back her findings to the UK. She put her life on the line for her country. Unfortunately, it was on her second secret mission into France where she was captured by German soldiers. She was interrogated, tortured, and then taken to a concentration camp, which ultimately led to her death. She never gave up, though, and she's definitely an honorable leader. Violet Szabo was the second British woman ever to be awarded the George Cross Bravery Award for her ambitions. And that's why House Szabo's symbol is the medal. Just like Violet Szabo, my ambition for House Szabo is to be the best. We will go above and beyond the expectations. We will not give up. We will accept challenges and work together to overcome any obstacles. And with this, we will succeed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Miranda. So I'm going to finish our presentation, our assembly this morning in the next minute or so. As mentioned at the start, students and staff are divided into 4 houses. What's also important for you to know is that your siblings will be in the same house as you. So for example, if you have a younger brother or sister, they too one day will be in the same house that is selected for you. Maybe your grandchildren one day will come to Lambeth Academy and be in the same house as you. Because as long as this school is standing, these houses will be prevalent. What is fantastic about our houses at Lambeth Academy is the deep roots that these people have contributed. As mentioned, locally, with local significance, nationally, and also globally. I'm very proud of the houses that we have at Lambeth Academy, and I know that you will be equally as proud. Final message, next Tuesday, you will have a house assembly with the person who's your head of house, who was just speaking. So could it be Mr. N.O. for House Archer? Could it be Miss Anderson for House Thornton? Could it be Miss Miranda for House Szabo? Or Mr. Patchins for House Jones? I just can't wait for the next period of time at Lambeth Academy. We're on the verge of something very, very special. Thank you very much for listening to this live broadcast this morning. I'll hand over to the members of staff, and although we scheduled to finish at 9:15, this is now the end of this live assembly. Thank you very much.